and welcome to episode 23 of the Luckycast. I'm your host, DeoxysPrime, and joining me on this anime podcast, we got Kenny.
Yeah, after how many fucking seasons?
All of them.
Wait, aren't you usually here, Kenny?
No, I'm never here anymore.
Oh, God. Oh, my
Well,
God.
we're always happy to have you, Kenny.
I get confused because DL's here sometimes, so it's hard to differentiate the two.
Never.
We have
Hello.
Funk.
Hello.
And we have Matt.
Hi.
So, this is another mid-season podcast. It's time for the summer anime season that's going on right now. And as always, we're going to start with our recommended anime. And I think Funk wants to go first, question mark?
Sure, I'll go first. I have two possibilities on where I can start here. I guess I'll get the bad news bears out of the way first. And then go on to actual recommendations. So not when Steve brought it up, I knew that this was going to happen. This always happens. We always have this segment on the podcast, and I was keeping a keen eye out for shows I could recommend, things that people might not be watching, because I don't think there's a real point in recommending super popular shows that everyone's watching anyway. So when I came across the show 18 If, I had no idea what the fuck it was. So I watched the first episode, and I would say it was bad. Flat out. But, and this is the most relevant but, it didn't look good, but it looked very creative. Long-time listeners will remember Ron Pokemon and the wedge. The wedge that it drove between us as a friend group. So that show was another bad show. It had plenty of flaws, but the visual direction was, in my opinion, absolutely stellar. And I thought it was worth a watch because of it. And I actually thought ended up being quite good because of that. This show doesn't quite reach that level because the actual animation's bad, the art is bad, but it's just super weird a lot of the time. The visuals are very out there. It's like a 70s album cover at times. It's just very strange and weird and in an enticing, intriguing way, even if it's not quite altogether there as a show. The first episode was anyway. So I was locked in on recommending that. I didn't have a lot of time to watch anime. I've had a lot of stuff going on, so I was like, I'm going to watch this first episode. I'll watch the rest later, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to recommend this. So then, like the previous couple days right before today, I watched up to the current episode. And like the show just evens out in the worst way possible. The quality of it gets better. A lot of the animation gets better, but it tones down a lot of the weirdness. And it's like, it was a watchable show, but it just became super, almost boring by that point, by the fifth episode. And it was a very disappointing fall from grace. Because I'm not joking. I'm not overstating things when I talk about just how out there the first episode was at times. Like it's just the kind of thing you watch and you're just like, what?
So what's this show about?
I guess it is ostensibly about something, isn't it? So the main character is this guy. He's just a regular college student who wakes up in like a dream world. And the dream world is, I guess, ravaged by these women with like special powers in it. Like they can basically control the dream world because those are their dreams.
God, you're describing Catherine right now, which I can see why you like this.
No, not. Let's not oversell things here. But anyway, what it basically comes down to is in the real world, each of these women like faces some trauma which puts them into a coma, and then when they're in the coma, they have this interaction in the dream world where they're basically like tyrants or villains or troubled people who need the main character's help. And it's just very episodic. Each episode focuses on one of these women, their story, their character development, and it moves on to the next one for the next episode. But, that is not at all the reason to watch the show. Not that there is much of one anymore. But the plot for each episode isn't very engaging. The characters aren't anything to write home about. I was going to recommend it purely on a visual basis, and then it just lost it. It lost it, and I'm disappointed. But I haven't dropped it yet.
Watch this anime or don't, Funk.
Perfect. I would say anybody can check out the first episode and then just stop. treat it like it got canceled. I think is the best bet. But not to monopolize the podcast here, but to move to quickly stream on to the good side of things. I get to cuck Frank.
Oh my god.
Oh boy, that's always a treat.
Oh yeah. So Frank wanted to recommend this one show, and he's like, as soon as we were talking about what we're gonna recommend, he locked in on it. He's like, "Yep, doing this." He was the first one. I was like, okay. And as I was catching up on shows over the past couple days, I'm like, well, Frank's gonna recommend this. I might as well check it out. I mean, I trust Frank. I'm sure if he's recommending it, it's not awful unless it's Gotchamon again.
And what happened to Frank?
Frank got captured by normies. So he couldn't be here today, as much as we wish that he could. But, what is the name of this show? Frank wanted to recommend a show called... gotta load my mail.
Kakegurui, I think it's called.
Kakegurui, yeah. So, I watched one episode of this. I don't have the best handle on it. But I do know that first episode was fucking great. This show is about... Despite the fact that Frank wanted to recommend it, there doesn't seem to be any murder game involved. Nobody's trapped anywhere. But it's a school that's based around, like, every student there is super into gambling for some reason. Just their parents are rich, they have money, and they gamble. And they don't really care. It doesn't really matter. I don't even know what the plot is of this show. But again, which is the theme here of my tale of two anime, it looks fucking great. And it sounds great. Yo, we're gonna get into OPs maybe later, but I didn't do much research on OPs. This show's OP is fucking dank. But this show is like super stylish. When you think of kind of like glitzy casinos and underworld gambling and stuff, like that kind of tone that permeates the entire show. And I don't know if I've always been a sucker for that, but I was immediately drawn in. And like it gets grotesque at times. Characters make the stupidest fucking faces. Just like they snarl in superiority when they think that they've won, and then the rug's pulled out from under them, and it's extremely hokey, but
it's very over the top.
It's extremely over the top, but it fucking landed for me. I was super into it. Like other shows might do something like this, and it's like, eye rolling. But no, I was.
They don't do it with the style that this show does.
Not at all. And I want to say that this added to it a bit. So, being in Japan, I've been very cautious about pirating anime, so I've been streaming it. And I streamed this show in like low, not standard definition. It didn't look like very good for the quality of the video, which gave everything like this fuzziness to it, because it was just a stretched image on my widescreen. And something about that just added to the tone of it all. I don't know. I may just be talking out my own ass, but it really enhanced it. Like it just added to the mood, the mystique. I was in as fuck.
So when you watch it in actual high quality, is it gonna turn out to actually be shit?
Well, I'm never gonna watch it in high quality, just in case that happens.
Oh no.
Just in case. This show will always be trash to me. But it's trash kino.
Oh my god.
I
don't know if anyone else has watched more than I have.
Yeah, I'm actually all caught up on it.
Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'll
Being
say
more knowledgeable than me.
So, definitely the fun part of the show is it does follow a very specific formula of the main girl just gambling against people, a new person like every episode. There's a new game, and the latest one.
Are any of them murder games?
Not so far.
Oh my god!
But there are some very violent characters at this school. That's for sure. A part of the fun, in fact, I would say the main fun that you can get from watching the show is just watching this girl go against these ridiculously over the top and obnoxious, horrible people, and watching them get their comeuppance when they lose. And that's really fun to watch, but I will say this show does have a bit of an issue in the way it's paced. every episode so far has kind of followed the same format, and every game inevitably has someone cheating in it. And the show doesn't really give you the opportunity to figure out what's going on during the game. It doesn't really clue you in on how people cheating. It just straight up tells you, like a character will explain it like during or after the game. This is how I'm cheating. This is how this person's cheating. So
you can't figure it out.
Yeah, it takes away a bit of the fun of the game, but I would still say I'm enjoying it a lot. The presentation of the games with like they have like the graphics from the money and the whatever stats are going on in the game. It's overlaid in like an augmented reality way, and it looks really slick.
It does.
It just ties into the overall great production of this show. So I'm not as in love with it as Frank is, because he really likes the show, which is why I want to recommend it. But I will say it's pretty enjoyable.
There are girls necking in the OP, so
there are girls necking in the OP.
Can I make a comparison real quick?
Sure.
So it dawned on me, like thinking of the villains in this show, the one that I've seen and the way you describe the others in future episodes, that you could draw a comparison to the way that Ass Class presented its villains.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but they're very similar.
Right, and I hated that in Ass Class. I thought it was just jarring and nonsensical and just bad for many reasons. But this show, it's not that it's okay when this show does it, but the reason that it's different, I think, is that the main character seems to also be operating on that level.
Absolutely.
And what was one of my favorite things about the first episode is how just the main character's like personality. Like, you get super invested in them because they're just fucking mavericking all over the place. It's insane. Like, I don't even know how to describe this. They're just
I mean, she
a force of fucking nature.
She gets off to gambling.
Right. But it's more than that too, because there's like both a clear amount of skill in what she does, but an insane amount of recklessness, which is like, of course she's going to come out on top. She's the protagonist, but it's enough that I could actually buy the fact that losing is a possibility, even if the whole premise of the show is people cheating and getting their comeuppance. I don't know. No, I'm not as far into it as you are, but it's not at the point where it's like, yeah, of course she's going to win. There's still tension, I should say.
I will say it's not that clear cut. She doesn't always win. Like, spoilers, I guess, but it's not like she wins every single game.
Right.
And that factors into the story after like episode 3 in a very big way.
Love it.
It's not like super predictable, but it is in the sense that like every game will involve inevitably someone cheating.
Right. Maybe that's just a reflection of gambling in real life. Gotta know when to fold them.
You want to sing the whole song?
No.
What? What are we talking about?
Kenny, who sings that song?
Sings what song?
Glad you're with us, Kenny.
We were talking about the gambling show, which I dropped, so I kind of zoned out.
Oh my god, why'd you drop it?
Because I hated it.
Well, thanks, Kenny.
Was it just too absurd for you?
It's too absurd. Thank God.
Did you get to the point where
I did not get to the part where
on the table?
Do what?
Where she pours the bag of money on the table? Because I just lost it at that point.
No.
It was fucking
I think I dropped at the episode before the girls masturbating with their gun in the bathroom.
Oh, that's that show?
That's the show.
Oh my god. I mean, now that I've seen the first episode, like, I can buy that. But I guess we'll get there.
She's in the opening with the gun, so.
Does she play Russian roulette? Is that their game?
That's her game.
Wow, how did you guess that?
You know, Kenny, sometimes you know the answer to a question, but you ask it just to fill in for people who might be listening who don't know.
There's only so much fun you can have with a gun.
That's not true. So, Jay, would you recommend Rounders?
No.
Thanks for getting that joke, Steve.
I'm not Jay. Were you Jay or no? You were Jay when you did that thing, right?
I think
No,
I
he
was Jay.
Mike.
No, he was Jay because he's already Mike. He couldn't have been the other Mike. That would have just been
Really?
confusing.
Really?
Yeah, that would have been like crossing the timelines.
I could have sworn that Funk was Mike and DL was Jay. I guess no, it couldn't have been because DL was on the left side.
I can tell you we didn't think about that. But
DL does
Thank God
have more of a Mike presence, I guess, too.
he is larger than I am.
He's larger, and I guess he feels like more of a figurehead, I guess.
Mm.
I don't know.
DL has the mic presence. I have the wizard presence.
No.
We've
You're not that
established
bad.
Frank as Rich Evans, so.
That is
Oh.
fitting. That is very fitting.
I hope Frank never hears that.
All right, Matt, you want to go next?
Sure. So I'm recommending Made in Abyss. Made in Abyss is a really, really good adventure fantasy show where the whole concept of this, like the whole society of the show, is based around this giant hole in the earth. So basically, all these people live in this society that like the city basically that like encircles this giant hole called the Abyss. And the deeper you go into the Abyss, the stranger and more dangerous everything that inside it becomes.
Wait, stranger
there's-
danger.
Stranger danger. And the further down you go, when you come back up from the Abyss, there's something called the Curse of the Abyss. And the deeper down you go, the more the curse affects you. So at a certain depth, it just kind of makes you a little sick.
Is that like when you get the bends from coming up from underwater?
I guess so. Yeah, it's something kind of like that. Like at a certain depth, you just kind of get a little sick. Next depth, you start vomiting uncontrollably.
Jesus.
At a certain depth, you actually can start getting very harmed and actually internally bleeding.
So why do people venture down here?
Well, the whole idea is that, I mean, they ventured down there to find artifacts and stuff to bring back up. And
Like the editor of ANN?
yeah, I guess so.
You're thinking of Sankaku.
Oh, whatever.
And the thing is, there are people who are cave raiders is what they're called, and they go down into the abyss to collect things from down there. And there are certain levels of cave raider, and the people there's and they're all distinguished by whistles. Red whistle is the lowest. It's the noobs. I think the next is blue whistle, and then white. No, and then it's black and then white. And the white whistles are the ones who go down, who are capable of going down into the abyss. And typically they're the ones that they'll go down to the abyss and they'll never come back. Because after a certain depth, once you're down in the abyss, after a certain depth, you can't come back up. Because if you go back up, you're just gonna die. Because of the curse. And apparently,
What?
Oh, never mind. So, and the main story of the show is that our one character, Rico, she's this 12-year-old girl who's training to become a white whistle, and her mom her mom is a white whistle, and she went down into the abyss, and she's been gone for years now. And one day while raiding, Rico finds this robot boy who saves her. The robot boy lost his memory, and he's an artifact of the abyss. He doesn't know where he's from, and they kind of become friends. And then later on, they find Rico's... Well, okay, this is kind of getting into spoiler territory, I guess, but...
Don't spoil!
Kind of. basically, the premise of the show is that her mom, like Riko, wants to go down to the bottom of the abyss to find her mom, and that's basically where we're at now. They're just delving deeper and deeper into the abyss, and all kinds of crazy creatures and things are down there, and you never know what you're gonna run into. And I know apparently this show gets really dark because people compare it a lot to like the manga, at least people compare it to stuff like Berserk and Hunter x Hunter and all kinds of.
See, I would never guess that, because like the only thing I really know about this show is like the art style, which is very different from most other anime, and does not look like the kind of thing that would get dark.
The art style is one of the one. Sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to point this out. One of the reasons that I really like this show is that with the art style, the children in it look, and I guess also act like actual children and not anime children.
Right.
I mean, you can think of any when Matt starts off the synopsis by saying it's like a fantasy adventure show. You can think of like dozens of other shows that fit that narrative that are just garbage or trash or whatever, where it's like middle school aged kids going on high adventures and looking like young adults and generic. When this show is really anything but. So yeah. Also, I think the art style is a large part in that.
Yeah, the art style is really great, especially the monsters. I mean, you haven't seen it yet, Funk, but the monsters are drawn and animated in a very weird style, like actually almost out of place in comparison to how the characters are animated, which is actually done. It's actually a really interesting idea because it just makes them all the more out of this world and crazy, which fits with the theme of the show. And it's really cool. It looks great. It's super entertaining. There's a lot of mystery to it. And I know we haven't even got, like 6 episodes in, we haven't even gotten introduced to one of the main characters, who's like this weird cat rabbit thing that apparently is also super popular with fans of the manga. But yeah, it's really good. It's a very solid, entertaining show that feels like it's gonna get into a bit of a wild ride potentially. We'll see.
Well, we love our wild rides.
I keep hearing a lot of things about how it gets super dark and disturbing. So
have you not read the spoilers?
Not really. All I know I mean, I saw a couple of panels from the manga.
Ah, there it is.
But like without any context, I have no idea what any of it means, especially since I didn't even see like the English translation version of it.
Was one of the characters like getting raped on a pinball machine?
No, it's nothing.
It can only be so cryptic.
It's nothing like that. It's
Why
nothing
is that
like
always
that.
your go-to example?
What are you talking about?
I know you've referenced that before.
But
me.
I mean, all I know is I keep hearing about a character who everybody calls world's greatest dad, which I'm pretty sure is ironic. But
is it Soldier 76?
Is it Goku?
No, his name's like Bondrude or something. I don't know, but it's a great show. Very interested in seeing where it goes.
I've not watched the show yet, but I will before the season ends.
I feel like you'd like it a lot.
Yeah, I could see this being a Steve show.
I hope so, because like the art style, I know everyone seems to love it, but it's not the kind of thing that would instantly draw me in.
Right. It's I think the art style itself, if you were to look at like a still of the show at any given time, that's not why the art style is as effective as it is. Like, you can't just take it in isolation.
Do you have to see it in motion?
Not even that, but more like how it plays into the whole tone of the show. We were talking about this the other day, in that I really think the show has like the same tone as like a 90s RPG or an early 2000s video game. It has it's like pure adventure, but with a good amount of innocence to it. Like, there's no cynicism about anything and how this show was conceived.
No.
It's also
that's interesting, but I'll also say like I don't have any nostalgia for that kind of stuff because I never played any of those games, like 90s
that's
RPGs.
fair. It's not so much like I have nostalgia for it and that's why I like it. It's just that's the best example that I can think of in how to describe it.
I don't think I would be able to appreciate that aspect of the show if I watched it. But I'm sure there are the elements that would draw me in, so I will definitely watch it at some point this season. Anything else you guys wanted to add? I don't know if Kenny's watching.
Is it Made in Abyss or Made in Abyss? That's the real question.
Made in a it's
don't answer. Don't. It's a mystery. Don't answer it.
It's Made in Abyss. I mean, it's in reference to one of the characters from the show. I'm not gonna say who, but
was it the robot? Was the robot Made in Abyss?
I mean, I guess technically.
Or is the main character the Made in Abyss?
No.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
Ooh. Tune in on the end season podcast.
Well, you'll probably find out in like a couple more episodes. It's not really, I say like I don't want to spoil anything, but it's not exactly something that's like a big mystery. It's just kind of like it's just obvious. It's like, oh, that's what it means by Made in Abyss.
Oh yeah, I'm anything but serious right now.
It's not one of those shows that drops the title at the very last line of the show.
I guess
we are Made in Abyss.
What if they just said that in English? That'd be great. Would be great. Kenny.
All right.
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna steal it.
All right, never mind. I tried to include Kenny, and I was blown. Okay.
Kenny can wait. I don't even know what he's gonna recommend. Kenny, what were you gonna recommend?
I don't know what was I going to recommend.
Because I want to see if it's the same show I'm going to recommend.
The Shame Show.
What, Level Up Season 2?
It's not even airing.
Okay.
Kenny's more of a Sunshine Squad guy.
Did you have a recommendation plan, Kenny?
It was just Princess Principal.
See, yeah, that's the exact show I was going to recommend.
Yeah.
So we can do it together.
Okay.
Like true
Sounds
friend.
So excited. So Princess Principal, which is a dumb title that the show hasn't explained fully yet. Although in the most
they're in a school, right?
Steve.
No, that's not it. In the most recent episode, they dropped the word principal, but haven't explained what it means yet.
In English?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I thought it was just in reference to the fact that the princess is like, kind of like the principal figurehead.
I thought this was the sequel to My Wife is the Student Council President 2.
Oh my God.
The principal is entirely separate from the princess. That's as much as I can gather so far.
So there's no intercourse?
There could be.
Oh my God.
I don't know. It's hard to say. Characters may be gay for each other, but they haven't gone there yet.
Oh, don't tell Frank.
But he'll find out. But
You might
this
already know.
show is a turn of the century steampunk spy anime, which is normally something I would not like. But this show does all of those elements extremely well, and has definitely captured me from the very first episode. Like, this show was not even on my radar until I saw people discussing the first episode on A, and they were talking about Flip Flappers. I'm like, why are they talking about Flip Flappers? And it's like, oh, this is being made by Studio 3 Hertz, which is the Flip Flappers studio. So I was like, I should probably check this out because this is the first.
I think you mean the Sora No Method studio.
Oh my God.
The Dimension W studio.
It continued.
Yeah, we won't mention Dimension W anymore. But the Flip Flapper studio is making this, and I think this is the first show they've made since Flip Flappers. So I was like, I'm gonna check this out. And then I watched the first episode, and it looks fucking gorgeous. There was a really, really well animated fight scene in that first episode, and everything about it kind of drew my attention in a way I was not expecting. And there's even like an element, like this is like very clearly a steampunk anime, but there's also an element of sci-fi to it, where they have this device that lets them fight in anti-gravity, which makes for some very fun and interesting fight scenes, and also ties into a lot of the way they go about their espionage activities. So basically the story is it's like an alternate alternate history thing where England, in this case they call it Albion for whatever reason, was split in two, and the two halves of this country are conducting like spy activities against one another, and you have the kingdom and the Commonwealth, and you have these spies from the Commonwealth who join together with the princess of the kingdom, and they basically just do spy stuff. And unlike a very recent spy anime that aired last year that I was not a huge fan of, this
Yeah.
one thing this show gets much better is that all the characters in the show are actually characters, and they have personalities that go beyond just is a spy. And they all
fight? Can we fight right now? Because I can fucking pick some bones.
You maybe later, but the thing about why this works is that there's so, like, you never know which character is telling the truth. Like, they're very much spies, and you don't know whose side they're on, and sides change. Like, as you get further into the show, it's not told in chronological order. So episodes that come later give more insight on the episodes that aired previously. Like the first episode, you get what you think is a pretty clear picture of how these characters fit together into this little group that they have, and then the second episode completely shatters everything you thought you understood about the first episode.
Oh my god!
It's throughout the whole thing you're never very clear on whose side who is on and what goals they're achieving, which I think is the ultimate goal for a show that involves like a handful of spies.
And these girls are quite the handful.
Yes, they are. But yeah, just everything about this show is extremely well made. Like from the production side, it looks great. It sounds great. I've just been enjoying the whole thing from like I think it's up to episode 5 now, and I just caught up today. So there hasn't been a single dip in quality, either in terms of like the animation or the storytelling. It is a little episodic, so you can enjoy it from episode to episode. But I do think they're going to a larger place yet that they haven't fully led on to. So I would recommend this show if you love any of the things I talked about, like spy anime or steampunk anime or sci-fi anime. I think just like Flip Flappers took a whole bunch of different things and kind of made them work together. I wouldn't say this show is as ambitious as Flip Flappers, but I do think it's doing a very good job of managing all these different aspects.
So, on the subject of steampunk anime, is this better or worse than Clockwork Planet?
Oh god.
Oh god.
Clockwork Planet is like the biggest joke of steampunk I've ever seen. This nails the steampunk aesthetic in the right way. And basically what I mean by that is it's not like in your face about it all the time. Like characters, like every character in the show doesn't have some kind of ridiculous steampunk contraption. But there is some of that in the show, which is used, in their various spy activities. So I do appreciate the fact that it's not obnoxious about the steampunk setting. It's just one element of the show. It's not the show.
Because if there's one thing that can be obnoxious, it's fucking steampunk. But the most like steampunk, I only watched the first episode, which I thought was great, but it's the only one I saw so far. And the most steampunky thing that I saw, someone had like a telescope that had like 6 lenses on it. They're just flipping through to various levels of zoom. And like, they start by just showing the first person view of what the telescope is seeing, and it's like enhance as it zooms in. And like, this is fucking ridiculous. And then they cut to a third person view, and it shows the telescope in its full glory with like 20 lenses on it. And I was like, what the fuck?
It's like the Phantom Pain fucking lens, only it's a fucking telescope.
I appreciate the fact that they changed the name of England, but the name of the wall is the London Wall.
Yeah, the city is still London, but
yeah,
I don't know why shows like this do that. Like, is anyone gonna get offended that this is England?
What is the English market for Japanese anime that is actually purchased? That's what I want.
You know what? I know why. I know it's Albion, right?
Yeah.
Apparently Albion is the oldest known name of the island of Great Britain. So there you go.
Wow.
See, I can buy that, but like, so
Kill
like,
yourselves.
It is still silly, but
you know how in movies, whenever they have like a Middle Eastern country and they just make it up because they don't want to offend any of their like real Middle Eastern countries that have all these conflicts going on. Like, I get that, but like, who cares if you just call this England, or why do shows have to call like Germany Germania, stuff like that?
Right. It's like calling something England isn't like drawing Muhammad. There's a slight difference.
Yeah. Oh man.
But the show is just super fantastic. I had forgotten. It's I tangentially picked this up at some point that this was made by the Flip Flappers guys, but by the time I saw it, I had forgotten that. And until you brought it up again, I had no idea. And it completely shows. Like there's just a fucking vein of quality running throughout the show, and not that kind of quality, but actual quality.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first episode, they did just a lot of work in, establishing their characters in very meaningful ways. Like you pointed out the comparison to Joker Game, and like I can make the argument that Joker Game was never about that, but it is nice to see. It is nice to see characters that have so much thought put into them just from the get-go. There's no like rush, like, oh man, this character, I suddenly need them to have a backstory, so we're gonna cram it all in here. It's like it seems very well established right from the beginning, which is something to appreciate.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, it's I really like the show so far also, because one thing I really like is like all the characters have their own little like gimmick, I guess, to make
They all have something that they bring to the table.
Yeah,
that makes them a good spy that's different from the other ones.
Right.
Yeah, one of them is Asian.
They got this random. It almost feels like some sort of like weird. I don't know. It feels like a video game, almost like some kind of game where like you have all these different class. I don't know.
It's like how Sonic and Tails and Knuckles can go through each stage in their own unique way.
I guess.
Can you jump? Like what?
You got the little cute girl who has her like voice changing thing. You got the sexy girl who just
seduces everyone.
Just seduces everybody because she's so fucking hot. You got the Japanese girl who I guess has a sword, and that's pretty much it.
Well, like most Japanese.
Yeah.
She's very well trained in the ninja arts.
And then you got...
I don't know if you saw the most recent episode, Matt, but it's basically the one that explains how she ends up in the group.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it was... Yeah, episode 4 didn't really... Which was weird, how she kind of just appeared. But
it's because they're not telling it in order.
Yeah, I know, they're not. I actually do kind of like that. It makes it interesting. It's one
of the few shows that I think doesn't fuck that up.
Yeah,
it's a hard thing to do. Well. I mean, the only other show that I've seen that I think really nails that is what?
Baccano.
Yeah.
Baccano did it really well. Which is funny because the original...
Steve hates Baccano.
The source material Baccano is based off of was not like that at all. The direct... And DL... I remember DL saying it before that the direction pretty much saved the show. Which I would agree with. Like, that, like the direction of Baccano is really what makes it so good. And the direction of this show is great, too. It's just a very solid, fun action show with all kinds of stuff going on and just really interesting, entertaining characters.
I mean, what's better than tactical espionage action than tactical espionage action with cute girls?
Right. That's the only thing that would make MGS better, is if Snake was a cute girl.
I mean, Snake's plenty cute already. Let's not hate on Snake here.
That is true.
Not his fault. But I was about to start talking about the ED, but that can wait.
Kenny?
What?
Kenny, what do you like about Princess Principal?
What Steve said.
Yeah. Yeah. What else do you like about it?
Is this like actually your favorite show this season, Kenny?
This season, yeah.
I
It was
thought
like
so.
it was like something typical Kenny. I'll just download that because it's new. I had no idea what the hell it was, who made it, who was in it.
It did come out of nowhere.
And then I was just like, I like this. So
Yeah.
it's like one of those shows that I look forward to, or the show I look forward to every week. So.
Can I say that? And
And Steve, who was best girl.
oh my god.
Yes, Dorothy.
Can I just say that this is... They might not be playing in the exact same space, but this is the best 91 days we ever could have gotten.
I'll keep an eye out for the pineapples.
Oh my god.
It's
The,
a very strange decision on their part.
Did you watch that 91 Days special, Funk?
No, I didn't.
Does it
But I
continue
know
where
it
we left
exists.
off with him being a can of pineapples?
Maybe they explain that.
It's like, yeah, I don't really get what the director was thinking, but it was very, very bold on their part to make the main character turn into a can of pineapples.
My god. One thing I just realized, I just went into the staff for this show. The script writer, composition writer, whatever series, whatever you want to call it, of this show, of Princess Principal, is actually is the original creator of Code Geass. Interestingly enough.
Code gay ass.
Yes.
That's well, it's not necessarily a good thing.
But it's a good thing on an entertainment standpoint.
Code Geass is very entertaining, but it's also a fucking mess.
It is I remember it being a mess. And apparently he also was
Is
a
that
series...
the show with Lelouch?
Lelouch.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's Death Note with mechs.
I've seen an episode of that.
It's okay.
It's a fucking, like, I watched the whole thing for the first time this year. It's a fucking ride.
Is that
Start
the
to
one?
finish.
Is that the show where that guy made that thread that's like, in 10 years I'm gonna post this again, and then he did?
No, that
Who knows what I'm
What?
talking about?
no. I mean that's the
I'm-
show that's the show where I will now make love to this fish comes from.
No, there's this one thread, and
I
I
don't
think it
know
was
if you
the
know
show
that.
where like someone posted a screen cap of it, and he's like, "Wow, I just rewatched this show, and I couldn't believe that this character was standing in the background of this scene the whole time." And then somebody else replies to it and is like, "That was the most obvious fucking thing. It was so obvious. I'm gonna call you out again in like 5 or 10 years about how fucking stupid you were." And then he did.
I don't know if it's this show, but I know what you're talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I love people who hold petty revenge for long periods of time.
The only thing I know about that's similar to that is the make sure the last 7 years from now thing.
Oh, that
That's
might be
that's
it.
also good. No, there's the thing you
No,
said,
wait,
Funk, definitely exists.
that's from Zetsubo Sensei, isn't it?
That
That's
is
from
from
Zetsubo
Zetsubo,
Sensei, yeah.
Yeah. Man, fucking A's a magical place.
By the way, good show. Princess
Good show.
Principal, watch it. I think, unless anyone has any hidden recommendations they want to bring out now, I think that's going to wrap this up.
I guess I have a soft rec, and Matt and I might be on the same wavelength here, so
All right, well,
I'm gonna let Matt take the helm.
Oh, you sure?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I was gonna say welcome to the ballroom.
We were not on the same wavelength,
Oh no, but yeah.
but I can co-sign this.
Yeah, I would just say welcome to the ballroom. Ballroom is really great. It's kind of like it's kind of like Haikyuu if Haikyuu was about ballroom dancing.
Right. Yeah. Despite it being about dancing, it's very much a sports anime.
Yes, it's a very shonen sports anime that just has a lot of heart to it and a lot of really good characters, and
And
it's
a lot
fun.
of really long necks.
And a
Yeah, I was
lot
gonna
of
say the
really...
most elegant giraffes you've ever seen.
Jesus Christ, this show has a massive neck fetish. As I said before, it's pretty much it's copy that the anime.
But it is incredibly solid, and it's exactly what you expect once you hear shonen sports anime. But
I mean, it's
that
a
doesn't-
rare anime that DL actually likes. So.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah.
no, because that makes complete sense though. DL is a fucking sucker for shonen, and
Yeah, he does love shonen.
Yeah, and that's what this is. So this
And
is
just a
is
very
DL's
solid
cool.
shonen show.
Right. Like I'm sure he'll give it a 10 out of 10.
It's also we are in the middle for the show. We are in the middle of like I don't even know what you would call it. It's like an NTR triangle, I guess.
Oh my god.
Or we have one person dancing with another person's dancer, and the main character dancing with his dancer. So it's like a cuck triangle.
It's like a cuck off.
Cuck dance triangle, cuck off. Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty great.
So we know DL's gonna give this a 10.
Oh yeah. I mean, he might find a way to hack into Mal and just give it like an 11.
He's in.
I mean, there is also literally a show that has NTR in its name, so we'll see how that one shakes out.
What were you gonna recommend, Funk?
I was gonna talk about Tsurezure Children, which is a very digestible, easy to watch show that is, despite it being a short, and I guess I shouldn't harbor prejudices like this, but despite it being a short, it is just very, very engaging, very fun. It's just vignettes shooting by you one by one.
Yeah,
it's all very cute and very, very fun.
As soon as I saw the first episode, I was like, "Oh my god, this is the most Matt Core show ever made."
And he's not wrong.
Because it's just romance, or
Yeah.
Have you not seen this, Matt? I thought.
No, I'm 5 episodes in. I love it.
Okay.
It's great.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say, I thought you saw this.
the council president and the smoker girl are the best couple by far. They're great. They're so good.
But this is the reason I would give this the hidden rec is that the opportunity cost is so low, and the amount of like hidden splendor that the show just puts upon you is wonderful. You just feel happy when you watch it, just to feel good.
Yep. Oh my god, I just remembered the texting part, the text section. Wait until you get up to that. That had me. That was so good. The fucking text conversation between two of the characters
is this show also sponsored by Line?
No, it's not like that. But it's a situation that like I could definitely see happening in real life. That is just hysterical.
Oh, I just remember what you're talking about. Yeah.
You know what you're talking about now?
God.
So good.
It is surprisingly funny.
I ain't gonna be surprised. The show's fucking funny. I'm expecting it to be funny. Fuck off, Steve.
No, I was expecting it to be more sappy than just like a straight comedy, but the comedy's really good.
Yeah.
But it's also very heartfelt at times.
I mean, it's no Toradora, right?
Oh, it is. You know, I just realized it is pretty much just like those short little vignettes at the end of the Tsuki ga Karai episodes.
Yeah, and those were great. Those were great. Like, legitimately fantastic. They dedicated like 5 minutes of the entire episode of those. I was like, yeah.
I do actually think the length of the show benefits it. If it was a full length show, I might get tired of it over time.
Yeah,
but like you said, opportunity cost is so low. It's very easily digestible.
I was about to draw a comparison to another show airing this season, but I think we're gonna cover that in the drop section. Whoa!
Oh no!
Wow! So that can wait.
That can wait, but that is a good tease because that's coming up next.
Oh my god!
We're gonna take a break, and then we'll be right back with the drop list. Welcome back to the Luckycast. All right.
Wait, we're starting?
What do you think 3, 2, 1 means? Are you retarded?
Someone's getting upset.
Are you busy? Do you have somewhere to be, Kenny?
Oh.
Okay.
I'm not doing anything.
Well, we're going to talk about everyone's favorite segment now, the drop list, where we talk about all the shitty shows from this season that we watched.
Right.
As always, I start this off with the show that pissed me off the most. And this season, it's fucking Gamers.
Yay!
So
Gamers is fucking awesome.
Let's be clear, Steve. You dropped this, and you're not continuing to watch it as some kind of hate fuck.
I wanted to, but I couldn't. I just could not do it. I couldn't do it.
Are you kidding? So you didn't drop it?
No, I dropped after episode 2, but I wanted.
Okay.
I wanted this to be one of those shows like Fuka earlier this year, where I just hate watched it, but I couldn't even do it with the show. Like, so let's get into this. So, Gamers to me is one of those like very rare shows where I think, it's a bad anime, but I think it made me angry at a disproportionate level to how actually bad it is. I don't think it's
is that because of the subject matter?
A little bit. Like, it's not the worst anime in the world, but it's certainly one that fucking pissed me off. Like, this is the most Reddit tier anime I have ever watched. Like, this was
Reddit.
This was made for people who think the cake is a lie and arrow to the knee were ever like unironically funny. Like if
this is an adaptation of that comic with that fucking cake is a lie shit that people always post.
Like if you're the kind of person who thinks, oh man, they're making references to my favorite video games. Like if that appeals to you, like Gamers is your favorite show.
Why do those people talk super rhythmically? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. That's just how they sound. See, but like that's not even really what the show is. What it actually is just a really, really shitty romantic comedy that has like a very superficial layer of like video game stuff on top of it. It's a show that takes itself too seriously to be a parody, but is too ridiculous for you to take it seriously. Like, it doesn't know really what it wants to be, and it's just not good at anything. And it's one of those shows, and you'll know what I'm talking about, that has, like, that super popular, extremely attractive girl who secretly loves video games, and she falls for, like, the dumbass main character for absolutely no reason.
Somebody call DL. He needs to know.
I know he hates this, but, like, see, in this case, I think they try to justify it, is that the main character... But he only really has like a very casual interest in video games, and I think that's the part that maybe pissed me off the most. Is because
he's literally a casual.
Yeah, it's like so. Let's compare this to a show like Saikano, which I think is kind of similar in a way because it deals with like very similar.
You mean Blaiblano?
I do. It has that kind of similar thing where that show has two girls who are like very into otaku stuff. And also really like a dumbass main character. But see, in that show, Tomoya, the main character, he at least has something that you can point to and say, okay, I understand why these girls might be fixated on him. In that case, like, he was very passionate about what he wanted to do, and he was very passionate about the same things those girls were interested in and could talk to them on a level that they could relate to that no one else had at that point. So you can understand how those girls might be attracted to him. Whereas in this show, the main character is just like the most autistic motherfucker main character you could possibly imagine, who spills more spaghetti in the first episode than these types of characters typically do in an entire season. Like that whole scene where she's kind of asking him out in the classroom and he turns her down was like, I mean, I don't throw this word around lightly. It was the most cringeworthy thing I've seen in anime in a long time. And then to top it all off,
you made it through.
And then to top it all off, she runs away and slips on a fucking banana peel completely unprompted. That gag was not set up in any way. It wasn't even like a stupid reference to Mario Kart or something. She just slips on a fucking banana peel.
What happens is she literally starts to cry, starts walking away. The camera just pans to the floor where there's just a banana peel there for no reason whatsoever, and she just trips on it. It just happens and you just kind of stare at your screen, like thinking, like, what the fuck is even any of this?
Yeah, the way the show is written is just so bad. They just don't come up with any sort of connect. Like I said, I only watched episode 2, but you can tell that they're trying to bring these characters together in a way that just feels totally unnatural, and they don't really have any reason to be connected to one another. And
They're trying to bring them together in an unnatural way.
What?
They're trying to bring them together in an unnatural way.
No, I mean that's
what you're saying.
What I mean is that's what's actually happening. It should be
see.
in a natural way, but because the writing is so shitty, they can't do that. And I assume that keeps continuing. For whatever reason, Matt is still watching the show, so
No,
maybe
let's
he can
hear it from Matt.
Maybe he could take it from here.
Okay. Everything you said is true, Steve. So,
I love to hear that, by the way.
but yeah, the show is not very good. I don't think it's that bad. It's just, I feel like it's just a really mediocre comedy. And honestly, the worst thing a comedy can be is just mediocre. Because if it's not, if you're a comedy and you're not funny, then what's the point? You know, it's like what Reggie said. If it's not funny, why bother? So
I think
Wow.
that's not exactly what he said, right?
yeah, I know.
Close.
So,
but I agree with you. Yeah.
Based Reginald.
so basically, the show, like what it is now, is basically, well, in episode 2, I don't know how much of episode 2 did you see?
I watched the whole thing.
Oh, you did. Okay, so you did see why she actually falls in love with him.
Yes, but
it doesn't make any sense and it's dumb. But like basically, she falls in love with him because he makes this really shitty, sappy speech about why he likes games to this other character, while almost dangling him off a fucking bridge into traffic. But
which is was so fucking forced.
it was stupid. Like, I will say, I do like how this show sometimes kinda like
The thing is, though, Matt, just to
what am I trying to say? Subverts your expectations a bit, but the problem is that the way it executes it is just not funny.
like the whole thing about him rejecting her, like that's not something most anime do, but it just does it so horribly.
Like, you know what would have been funnier is if, like, the whole episode builds up to him, like, trying to join this club, and, you know, most anime, like, it does the thing that most anime would do, or, like, they're all, like, around him, like, smiling, like, why don't you join our club? And he looks at her hand outstretched, and it's, like, this, like, nice, inspirational background music. What would have been great, instead of what happened, was that he just said, nah, and then just left, and then credits roll. Like, that would have been good. But, and then just go on with the show, like, from there. But, it's, like, the way it executes everything is just, it just makes it so... Well, first off, this main protagonist, this MC, is probably one of the most unlikable characters in any anime I've seen.
Yeah.
Because he's just a massive... Like, he's super autistic. Like, he's like the version of you from high school where you think back to, like all the scenes in this anime are like things you remember in your past, where you remember when you're about to go to sleep, and then you're just like, oh god, why did I do that?
So this is the most realistic anime ever made, is what you're saying.
Potentially, yeah. I will say the main character definitely did remind me of high school me at times.
But it's like the situations that they put him in are not realistic, which is why it doesn't work.
Not at all.
It's not trying to be relatable. It just kind of accidentally comes across that way.
Right. It's just really dumb. The main character is super autistic and annoying. He's unlikable. It's just dumb. He's like a fucking... He pretends like he's this, like, video game nerd, but all he really plays are, like, phone games and, like, visual novels.
Yeah, it seemed really unclear about what they wanted his character to be. Like, whether he was really into games or not. And if he was more into games, I could have bought the relationship between him and the main girl, but it just falls flat because of that.
So let's look at this then. What is the... In Japanese gamer culture, what is the perception of visual novels? Are they for the casuals, or is that, like, a more core genre to play?
Well, I would I would think that a lot of people who play visual novels aren't really necessarily gamers. Like
Right.
they don't.
I-
I don't think they would consider visual novels games over there.
Well, that's what you have to think about from the Japanese perspective, and I don't know.
I mean,
But
yeah,
maybe.
I wouldn't really know either. I
mean,
guess maybe, but
The fact that he's playing that shitty phone game, enjoying it, said all you needed to know about this guy.
right.
Well, maybe even phone games hold a different
It's
connotation. But like, to be fair, so you think of phone games as being the normie thing? They're even more of a normie thing over here.
Yeah.
Like, you go on a train and like, I don't know, half the train is playing just like Puzzles and Dragons or some shit.
I mean, yeah, that is true. But how many of those people would consider themselves a gamer?
I don't know. Maybe I should ask. Maybe I should just shake down random people and ask them in broken Japanese if they're a gamer or not.
But
Either way, nothing that happened in the first episode justified her immediately going out and stalking this guy in the second
No.
episode.
no,
Is that what
like,
happens?
Yes.
Basically, yeah. She really wants him to join her club for whatever reason, and I don't know why. Like why is she so desperate to get this guy to join her
Especially
club?
because like
Beyond
it's not really difficult to find a guy who's interested in video games if that's your only qualification.
Right. Oh yeah, there's in episode 4. There's also a really dumb joke they did where it does like a before and after thing for the main girl, where it like has like her life before she fell in love with the main character, and then her life after, where like basically like her life is like shittier after she fell in love with this main character, which I mean I don't know what that's supposed to be saying. Is it I don't know what that's supposed to be implying there.
They
But
point this out in the first episode. I want to point out, I only watched like, I don't know, 2/3 of the first episode. But in the first episode, every time they introduce a character, it's like they give some kind of subtitle of like, there's this guy with a girlfriend, and it's like, oh, his girlfriend's gonna get with this boring main character without his knowing, and this like popular girl her life's gonna be ruined by falling in love with the main character, and like all this stupid shit. It's like, I don't care, but at least they fucking deliver on that promise.
I think that would be really interesting in a better show. Like,
it's just not
if
funny.
you're invested in the characters, it could be interesting to find out how they get to that point. But this is
Right,
not
but
that
you
show.
wouldn't be invested in the characters. It's fucking like, so my experience with gamers, everybody was like, oh, this show is so bad, we're gonna talk about it on the drop list. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch it so I can rag on it too. And I get, like I said, 2/3 into it, I'm like, this is fucking boring. Like, I'm just gonna drop it. I closed the window. Like, it wasn't offensive to me as much as it was just boring.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I would. I don't even think it's offensive. I just think
It hit me in a very specific spot.
it's just
like,
very.
I get that, Steve. I get that this might have like anti-resonated with you in a very special way, but for me, I was just watching it, and you know what I was doing while I was watching it? You want to know what was fucking? So what I was doing when I was watching this episode of Gamers, I was going through my garbage of bottles and cans and making sure they were appropriately crushed to go with the standards of the Japanese waste disposal ministry. So that's what I was doing. And I was watching Gamers, and I was like, wow, this is much more boring than what I'm actually fucking doing with my life at this very moment.
Oh my god.
I think the worst part is, though, the general consensus about people outside of us is that this is a good show. Like,
Wow.
ANN gives it positive reviews. Like, I've seen people say this is a decent show.
It has like a 7+ on Mel, I think.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah, it's a low 7.
I really don't see it.
7.45.
It's
So I will say this. Do you recall the fucking this art club has a problem?
Yes.
I would put this on about the same level as that. Like,
no.
I recognize that you guys might like it more, and it might even be worse. Like, art club may be better, I should say. But for me, they're about the same level of complete non-interest.
I will say, apparently Mal agrees with you because it is the top recommendation for this show.
Wow, really?
If you like gamers, then you'll like Tonobi. But
I'm just fucking gassed.
oh my
Who
god.
knew?
But I mean, I can see the similarities between.
I can see the similarities, although I think that show was more upfront about what it was, and it was also funny at times.
It was also it actually knew how to do jokes.
I will say though, Konbini doesn't like play in the gamer space, which I think you might be a little more sensitive. We all might be a little more sensitive to than the art club.
I guess so. I mean, I just like every time they like make some vague reference to a video game, I just kind of cringe a little.
I mean, there's like an extended segment in the second episode where they're just playing Persona 4 Arena. It's just actual gameplay footage of the game.
Really?
Yeah. And like the guy's explaining to the other guy the basic mechanics of the game.
Okay, maybe Gamers is worse. All right, I'm wrong. I'll accept that.
There's also a part there's also a part where that's like taken straight from like a shitty video game webcomic where a character's like, wow, this is like, I forget exactly what the situation was, but like she basically like they compared something to like fighting Bowser in Mario, and I was just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Stop.
That happened in the first episode.
Us gamers, right?
Us gamers, right?
She was like, oh, you don't have to use Keigo with me, you know, you can be casual. And he's like, yeah, I bet you get that all the time. And she's like, yeah, even Bowser speaks Keigo to me. And it just cuts to like some stupid pixel rendition of Bowser using Keigo with the female character.
They do similar stuff to that, like that too. Oh, one thing that triggered me was that in one episode, it shows the main girl's room. She has like a fucking arcade cabinet in her room, and it's like, fuck you.
So, one thing I'm not clear on is, like, is she supposed to be hiding this aspect to herself? Because it comes across like it, but then she, like, just blabs everything out in the middle of the, at the end of the first episode, in front of the whole class.
Yeah, it's dumb.
In credit to the show, like, to just try to give a little bit of forgiveness, I think it's just that it was something she never brought up, but not something that was explicitly a secret.
Well, she does say in one episode, like, when going throughout her day, she's like, and then I go to my game club, which I am secretly a member of.
All right, well, I was wrong. Whatever.
Because the thing is, like,
talk about fucking gamers.
That you would not be able to be the most popular girl in school if you were that open about being a fucking hardcore gamer.
Right.
Like, of all the things that are unrealistic about this show, that tops the list.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest problem with the show is that it's just a really shitty comedy that is called Gamers, but it's barely has anything to do with games.
Yeah, one of the first things I heard people say about this is it very quickly ditches the gaming aspect of it and just becomes a shitty rom-com.
It's just a shitty rom-com with terrible characters and just unlikable everything.
And I hate it.
It's not great.
Don't watch it.
It's not the worst thing I've seen, but that doesn't really say a lot considering what I've seen.
And I want to say I expected it once I originally read the synopsis of the show, but I still wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt. Like, maybe this is a show that actually kind of understands video games and people who play video games.
Nope.
Nope, not at all.
Is it? It's kind of, I don't know if it's like more pathetic or surprising that New Game has a better grasp of the video game culture than this does.
Oh my god.
New Game's fucking gas.
Yeah.
It is.
It's ridiculous how night and day they are when it comes to this subject. But that's a good show, so we're not going to talk about it here.
Unless someone's dropped New Game, in which case you can just get out.
In which case you're off the podcast.
Off the podcast.
So Funk, what have you dropped this season?
So as always, I go in order of what Mal presents it to me in the seasonal listing. So the first thing that I dropped is Fate Apocrypha. And this might be a bit disingenuous of a drop, much like Skrillex's drops. So
I mean, you were literally forced to watch it, weren't you?
I was. So I was hanging out with Frank and DL, as I'm wont to do, but will never do again. And they were like, oh man, the latest episode of the new Fate series dropped. They're big Fate fans, and I've read maybe 1/10 of the first Fate visual novel. So I was like, okay, whatever, you can watch it. So I'm just sitting there on this fucking piano bench watching Fate Apocrypha, which is so steeped in the lore of Fate that like every character who pops up not only is from a different series of Fate, but has like 5 different forms that we have to figure out which one is which. So as like 5 minutes in, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna get this. So I try to get comfortable on the piano bench, like laying down on it, which is way too small for me, because it's just a small little bench. You can't lay on it. And like I'm trying to ascertain the best way to get my head and my neck support, while also not like draping half my body over it that my knees have to do too much work to keep it steady. It's an ordeal. And the whole time in Fate, it's just like 2 people talking to each other in someone's office or a library or something about like what this universe of Fate is about. And it's just exposition. And of course, like the Fate fans are like, oh, that's like Saber's, cousin right there. Whoa. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, whatever. The whole thing was just ridiculous. Like, and I can't call it a bad show, because I'm sure if you're a fan of the Fate universe, that this is exactly what you wanted. Maybe. I don't know. But from the outside perspective, looking in, it was just ridiculous. There were so many things where like DL or Frank would just gasp when somebody walked on screen or when they said a certain line. And I was just like, yep. I was like, I had a little buzz by this point, but not enough to tolerate what was going on. So this was like a standard length episode of about 23 minutes or so. It felt double that. We watched several movies that day that were like 2 hours long, and they felt shorter than Fate Apocrypha's first episode.
I will say, Funk, as someone who's watched the good Fate series, not the shitty Studio Dean ones, I feel like I'm only watching this show out of obligation. Like, it's perfectly fine, but it's not nearly as good as the good Fate shows. So, yeah, and it's also something like, why would anyone who's never seen or really knows anything about Fate, why would they ever watch this? Because you're not going to get anything out of it. So, I feel bad that they made you watch it.
Well, I don't mean to paint them in a negative light. Like, they just wanted
no,
to,
go ahead.
and I went along with it.
They're not here. They can't defend themselves.
That's true. Fuck them. Fuck Frank especially. What was he thinking? But and on the plus side, we ate some pretty dank fried chicken after watching this, so that was a good time.
So all in all, it was a wash.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like, well, we played until dawn after that, so I guess Fate Apocrypha is an overall positive experience. So I guess I should have dropped. That's not bad. Yeah. So that's all I have to say about Fate. I don't know how many you guys have dropped, but I've dropped several, so just jump in.
I was going to ask if Matt's dropped anything.
I dropped a couple. I know the one show I dropped the fastest before even finishing the first episode was that fucking Isekai smartphone show.
Oh my god!
See, I was smart enough to not even watch this for once.
Yeah,
I wanted to give it a chance.
I went into it thinking, you know what? I'm gonna give it a chance. Let's see if this is this gonna be like Konosuba, or is this gonna be just another shitty isekai show? And it's just, not only is it just another shitty isekai show, it's like the most bare bones, nothing isekai show you could possibly imagine. This is completely lacking.
This feels like the specific show that Konosuba is a parody of.
Yes, it like, if now the thing, like, I was thinking almost like, is this like, did this come before Konosuba, like the source material, and this is what Konosuba's reaction to was? But I don't think that's the case. I'm pretty sure this did happen after Konosuba.
I believe so, yeah.
So this is just like, this is almost like the quintessential generic isekai show. This is the Nickelback of isekai shows. It is. It's just completely
nothing.
Nothing. Like the first episode starts with him in like talking to God, where God's just like, "Oh, oops, I accidentally killed you," and he's like, "Nah, it's all right, fam." And,
takes it surprisingly well.
Yeah, and he's like, "So I'm just gonna put you."
Would.
So basically, what God does for this kid is he puts him in a fantasy world. Like, you can't bring him back to life. So he puts him in this fantasy world and just lets him keep his smartphone and just makes him overpowered so that he can't die.
Yeah, it's dumb because he's like, you can bring anything you want. He's like, I'll take my smartphone, but then God's like, okay, I'll also make you the most powerful magic user in this world. It's like, okay, but the thing is, like, it's so dumb. It's like, you know, in Re:Zero, where he comes to the fantasy world and he has his smartphone and he uses that as like a plot point in one arc. It's like they took that aspect of that one arc of Re:Zero and turned it into an entire series.
Right.
The smartphone thing does not carry enough to be interesting in any kind of fantasy setting.
Right.
It's like, wow, you can access the internet back in the real world. Okay, good job. he uses it to make ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah, the light novel came out in fucking 2015, so.
And for what everyone says, like, this show isn't, like, I don't even know if it gets to, like, a serious point. It's just mostly just fluff. And it's not even an enjoyable fluff.
It's basically just, like, a really shitty slice of life show. Based off of what I've seen. Like, I don't even know. I dropped it after the point where he saves the two cute girls in an alley with his, like, sudden, like, ninja fighting skills. Then they go to the hotel, and the hotel person there, like, jokes about him getting in a relationship with the one girl. And she's like, hey! And then they like, giggle. And it's like, yeah, this is shit. And then I just turned off.
I was hoping there would at least be something of interest in the show that could hold my attention. But there was nothing. It is exactly as bland and stupid as you imagine a show called In Another World with My Smartphone would be.
It's nothing.
It is nothing.
It's just nothing. There's not even any. It's supposed to be a comedy apparently, but there's not even any jokes.
There's no jokes.
Like
you guys just fucking watched it. You watched it.
The only thing that's like close to a joke is in the first episode when I forgot about that. In the very first episode, like as soon as he gets dropped off into this fantasy world, he's like walking down the road and he's like, "Oh, I don't have any money. I wonder what I should do." And literally immediately after he says this, a guy drives by in his carriage and he's like, "Your clothes, I need them. I want to buy them from you." And he's like, "Okay." So he buys his clothes from him and gives him like cheap clothes, I guess.
For an insane amount of money. And apparently, and like I think there's like after that there's like supposed to be some weird joke where like the shop owner is like smelling them, like implying that he's just like a weird pervert gay guy. I don't know. It's stupid.
So I need to know, was the main character wearing a tracksuit at this point?
No.
Oh my god.
I don't even know what he was wearing. I mean, in the Mal picture for the show, he's wearing this like wool coat and a V-neck shirt and jeans. So I don't even know.
V-necks are fucking mean. Tell you that right now.
This show is shit.
Well, so another show I dropped was Centaur no Nayami.
You actually started watching this to drop it?
All right, so let me tell you my entire story of this anime.
I'm listening.
A Centaur's life. So, you know, it's a Monster Girl show, so of course I'm going to watch it.
That's bullshit and you know it.
No, it's not.
You knew what you were getting into. You knew the circumstances under which the show was made.
No, I didn't. That's part of the story.
I see.
So I start up the episode, and literally the first scene in the show is two girls kissing, and I immediately think, oh boy, I bet Frank's gonna love this. And I proceed to watch the show, and almost immediately I just get the feeling that this is going to be just a slice of life show with monster girls in it, and it's not going to have anything to offer that the other Monster Girl shows haven't already done and done better. Especially this year when what was the one that aired this year?
Demi-chan?
Demi-chan. Like that one was already so good, so it's like you got a lot of competition just from this year. So anyways, I'm watching it. I get about halfway through and I'm just fucking bored out of my mind, especially because this show commits the unforgivable sin of having its first episode be a play episode. So it did not get off on the right foot.
Is that such a common thing that it's an
No.
unforgivable sin?
Well, I don't like play episodes, first of all. Second of all,
Are play episodes such an archetype? Like, I'm so unfamiliar with this.
They happen a lot in anime, yes.
Hmm.
But it felt like this was like episode 9 of the series. Like there was no real introduction to the characters or anything. They just jump right into the stupid play that I don't give a shit about. So I get about halfway through and I'm bored out of my mind, and I just get the sudden urge to check what studio made this anime.
Here we fucking go.
So I go to Mal, and lo and behold, this is being animated by that shitty Chinese studio that I don't know the name of, but they make all those shitty Chinese anime. And I immediately closed the file, deleted it, and dropped it.
Howliners Animation League?
Yeah. It's like, and the thing is, like, it's not like their other Chinese show. They're just, like, original and have Chinese characters. Like, this is based on a Japanese manga. But even right away, you can tell, like, the quality is really bad. The character designs are so awful. Like, none of these monster girls are anything close to being attractive. So this is just a complete waste of time. I've heard from other people that it gets into some kind of politics about the monster girls in this universe, but like I didn't really care to get anywhere close to that stuff. The show just sucked. It was just boring, and I dropped it.
Nice.
I was gonna watch the first episode, then Steve dropped it, and I was like, okay, never mind.
Fucking take that, China.
Also, the fucking Centaur is wearing pants. That does not make sense. You could not get pants on a Centaur. I don't care what you do. Its pants are not gonna work.
Well, Steve, if a Centaur wore pants, would it be like this? Or like this? So, a show that I dropped, and this might be fucking conscientious among those that I'm with here. I dropped Hajimete no Gal.
Here we go.
I dropped it in its first fucking episode, and I dropped it before that episode had fucking finished. Like, I don't get any appeal of this show. Like, I know why it's garbage, but I know you know why it's garbage. But the thing is, like, I don't get any reason to watch it beyond the first episode. It like, there's nothing about it that has any kind of value, and not even value as smut. Like, if that's why you're in here, you could still do better. Like, it's just, why bother? Why is this hidden audience for gal shows that DL is fucking clamoring for?
Yame-san is literally the most perfect girlfriend who has ever existed. That's
is that the fucking main character?
That's the main girl. Yes, that is the reason to watch the show, because the show is a really, really bad adaptation of a good manga. And you guys know me. I'm not one of those people who's like, the manga's always better than the anime. That's not me. The manga is so much better than this anime. Like, it's. I'm gonna save a lot of what I want to say about the show to the end of the season podcast, because I do enjoy it, but I can absolutely recognize why someone would drop it, because it's just a really, really bad adaptation. They completely. Well, I mean, you didn't watch far enough to kind of understand Funk, but they completely drop a lot of the build up of the relationship between these two characters, and they make the anime seem like more of a kind of a wacky, harem anime when it's actually not. The manga is actually, I don't want to call it serious, but it does take itself a bit more serious in terms of trying to portray like an actual realistic look at a teenage relationship. And I say that with like all sincerity. It's genuinely trying, and it does a good job in the manga.
Well, from my perception of the anime, that seems fucking ridiculous. Because when I think of
it is, and it's,
when I think of like the way that she's presented, the way that the main character's friends are presented, like nothing at all seems realistic.
Yeah, but and the thing is, like, from what I'm totally caught up on the series, and there are elements of what makes the manga good in there, but they're all kind of shoved aside because they completely push up all the bad aspects of the manga. Like, so he has this group of 3 friends who are the most annoying fucking characters ever, but they're really, really minor in the manga, at least from the point I've read so far. But the anime makes them a much bigger part of the show, especially the fat guy who you can't even call a lolicon. Like, he is just a straight up pedophile, and the show keeps pushing that gimmick further and further as it goes on. And I'm not someone who gets offended by this shit, but it is really, really detracting from everything else. Like, he is so
weird.
horrible.
It's so freaky.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, was he the guy that like pinpointed like the 12-year-old girls' houses like
Yes.
Canary or some
Like,
shit like that?
He literally has a map to little girls' homes in the neighborhood, and like that's the point where you stop being a lolicon and you start being a pedophile.
Yeah.
There's a very thin line.
Yeah, and also like the anime introduces all the other girls a lot sooner, so you get this idea that they're all kind of lusting after the main character and that it's a harem, where they're in the manga, but they're introduced more gradually and with purpose. Whereas everything in the anime just kind of plays the side characters as a gag rather than something that contributes to building the relationship between the 2 main characters. I'll give you a really, really good example of why the anime doesn't work in comparison to the manga. So in the manga, so in the anime they haven't even kissed yet, but in the manga, by the time we get to where the anime is in episode like 3, they've already kissed, and immediately after that kiss, the main character has this kind of quandary about where, like, after you kiss, like, what's the next step in a relationship? Where do you go from there? And he gets the idea in his head, okay, so you gotta move up to the next base, right? You gotta grab some boob. And I say this kind of jokingly, but it's actually kind of a realistic depiction of how a guy views a relationship, and also how she views their relationship. Like, is it, in her mind, is that the next step to take with him? Does she want to let him do that? In the anime, like, none of that's even in the show. Instead, in episode 5, they just have his opai lolly childhood friend lying naked on top of him on his bed, and he just like has a handful of her giant tit.
All right, let's pause here. Pause. Stop. Pause. Aside. Opai lolly is got to be the most anachronistic thing that I could think of. There's no reason, if you like opai, then you don't want lolly. If you like opai, or rather, if you like lolly, then you don't want opai. There's no reason to cross those 2 streams. And I am extremely offended by its existence. Like, I can't fathom the audience for this kind of archetype.
Do you want to know the worst part, Funk?
What's that?
Okay, so do you remember that scene in Shirobako where that guy who was they were adapting his manga, right? And he was very gun shy because the last studio that adapted one of his manga had changed that one character. Like, they made her all moe and gave her big tits. That's what they did with the childhood character in the anime.
Are you kidding me?
They completely like doubled her breast size for the anime.
Oh my god.
Like, it's stupid on like a logical level. Like, the reason people like lolly is because they're not opai. Like, I don't know where this came from, other than like some corporate board meeting where they just threw everything to the wind, and they're like, "Yeah, people like larger breasts, so let's just put them on every character."
I mean,
who they are.
I'm still okay with that.
Like, I get, Steve, I get who you are, and I understand, but you have to understand that these things are running in opposition to archetypes. It's just
no, I get you.
It's ridiculous.
I completely get you, and it's just, my larger point was the fact that like the grabbing a breast for the first time as a teenager is a big fucking deal for a heterosexual guy, and the manga actually treats that with a certain amount of respect and storytelling, whereas the anime plays it up as a gag and doesn't even really acknowledge it. Like that's the difference between the anime and the manga.
Mm.
So like I said, I don't blame anyone who dropped the show because it is a really bad adaptation, but I still think it has a bit of the heart that the manga largely presents. It's just kind of covered up by a lot, like a complete lack of quality overall. Like even the animation itself is really bare bones.
Oh my god, episode 3 was horrible.
Yeah,
like that's the last one I saw, and episode 3 was just shit. It looked like trash.
Yeah, it's actually kind of depressing having read the manga that the anime turned out this way.
Didn't know it was trash.
No.
Real question.
It's a really shitty adaptation made by a shitty studio that probably just wanted to make it to make a couple bucks. And
yeah.
Who knows where the original creator is in all this. They probably have no involvement with this whatsoever.
I can only hope not. It has to suck to see your original work just be bastardized like this.
Even if it is like a dumb romance show, like a dumb kind of perverted romance show, it's like it sounds like the manga actually is trying.
Also, I should mention, like in the manga, it's just like the anime. It's actually a romantic comedy, but the manga actually has jokes that are funny, and that's just not in the anime.
No,
like there are a lot of different elements at work here, and whereas they mostly work in the manga, they just all fall flat in the anime or just are not there.
Is the weird like panty face personification of him in the manga too?
No. He has those inner thoughts.
Okay.
Like those conflicting thoughts about how he should act. Those are presented in the manga, but not the persona of him wearing the panties on the face.
Okay, so this is just a complete shitpost of the manga. It's not even. It's not even an adaptation. It's barely even an adaptation.
When I talk about why the manga works, is like it feels like so. There's two things that it gets really well. One is that it really nails the kind of perception versus reality that comes with dating someone for the first time, and like having expectations of how your girlfriend should act, how you should act with her, and just the reality that oftentimes it's not what you expect it to be, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but it really gets that aspect of teenage romance, or just the idea of dating someone for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It also really gets something I don't see a lot of anime or manga do, and that's a woman giving mixed signals. Not being a bitch, not being tsundere, but like actually giving conflicting signals to the guy that causes some of these misunderstandings. So it genuinely feels like a true teenage romance, or at least two people trying to figure out, what romance is. It's like I said, it's not played super serious, but it's taken seriously enough where it works. And it's a shame that none of that's in the anime.
Yeah, fuck anime.
I said way more about the show than I wanted to, but
well, now we know what Steve's fetish is.
It is a good example of like how adaptations can just completely ruin something.
Yeah. Read the manga. Don't watch the anime. Well, maybe watch the anime.
It's not a sentence you hear often on this show.
Not by me.
It is. I was gonna say earlier, like, you're definitely not a manga
Purist.
What- manga purist here, especially considering how much you liked Kakegurui.
Mm-hmm.
Because that had a lot of people hated the anime adaptation of that.
Also, gotta mention, the biggest crime the anime has is that there's an uncensored version that has no reason to be an uncensored version because there's no actual nudity in it.
Right. I did see some of the uncensored scenes, and all like the closest thing it has is like the closest thing it has to like not safe for work stuff is puffy vulva. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm gonna assume that it has to deal more with broadcasting standards than anything else.
Probably.
Like the attitude of the studio.
Yeah, but the fact that they're also airing like an uncensored version on another channel when, you know, there's nothing to really that much to be gained by watching it other than just not having to see the shitty censoring.
Right. True.
What else did you guys drop?
So I dropped, and when I say the first word of the show's title, you're gonna be like, "Oh, of course you fucking dropped that." I dropped Isekai Shokudou.
Of course you fucking dropped that.
Otherworldly cafeteria, whatever the fucking English title of this show is.
Restaurant to another world.
Okay, so I dropped it some percentage to the first episode. Once again, I did not finish the first episode. So when I was watching it, I was overcome with one distinct feeling. Well, rather two, I guess. One, how boring this was, but two, how completely not disinterested I don't even know if he's the main character, but the owner of the restaurant was in all the goings on. So they have like the chef, the owner of this restaurant, and it's like a daily routine for him to serve these, you know, isekai customers, you know, goblins and centaurs and dragons and whatever. Like, that's routine to him, and I get that. So it's no need to, like, the point that we enter the story isn't his introduction to this. So I understand why that's commonplace in the way it's presented. But at the same time, it just completely left me bored because the first 20 minutes or 23 minutes of the first episode, he's just doing things business as usual. And there's like all these fantastic centaurs and garbage and whatnot. And it's like, if you don't care, why should I care? Nothing about it speaks to it being otherworldly. He like hires a half demon. He hires them. And it's just another day at the office for him.
It is.
Like,
it is.
It was so boring. It was so boring. I just. Ugh.
I think it's okay.
Like,
it is a very mundane show, and it definitely straddles the line. It is similar to Flying Witch in that it does definitely go a little bit too far over the very thin line between comfy and boring.
Right. The thing is, at that point, when you're straddling that line, you have to have a good reason to introduce these fantastical elements.
Yeah.
Because once it becomes that mundane, you basically lose any reason for it to be a supernatural phenomenon. Like, you could, instead of hiring this half demon girl, you could have hired a random poor girl off the street, and it wouldn't have changed anything.
Yeah, it would have. I think it would have been better if instead of having the character introduced being a half demon, it was just a normal girl from the real world, and then she experiences like all these crazy like otherworldly creatures and stuff, and then and like it, you know, like almost like a Willy Wonka kind of thing where the chef like brings her to this world of fantasy with him, see all these crazy people and just kind of watch him eat his food. And the show does go a little bit, like, I will say, the show does, I think it does get a little more interesting later. Like, it definitely, I mean, it where the show is now is basically every episode is introduce fantasy character from this world. They experience some sort of problem, or they're just doing like some daily routine, or they're doing something that's like kind of more fantastical, and then they find the door to the restaurant. They eat there, and it for one reason or another does something that like helps them in some way. Like Like there's an elf, for example, who, like, elves in this universe are strictly like vegans. They can't eat any kind of, like, they're like the most obnoxious vegan you can possibly imagine. And she basically challenges the chef to make her something that she would actually like, because human food is known as being like disgusting to her because it's all animals and meat and stuff like that. And he does, and she's amazed by it, and that's kind of it. But it's not great, and I can understand why somebody would drop it, because every episode is basically the same. Every episode is pretty much.
I'm
the
glad
same.
to know it takes on a fucking formulaic, approach by the end of the. Not even by the end. I only watched one episode.
It's kind of like
so bored by the end of it.
only without the cute girls. So therefore,
Don't slander that show's name by comparing it to this.
This show is not as good as that. That is true. I mean, it doesn't have the Taberu song.
That's true. That is a marked downturn. So, really. But yeah, like I don't know. Even putting aside like the lack of intrigue, just by looking at the setting, it just didn't seem to do anything super special with the fantasy elements. It was just a dragon, a warrior.
No, it doesn't.
An elf.
You're completely right with that. That is true.
What's the?
You said warrior?
Yeah, someone who fights.
Warrior.
Warrior. I hate you.
God.
What do you call an all-out conflict between two nations?
A war.
A war. A warrior.
A war.
Oh my god. Help.
Anyway.
It doesn't help that the OP is a bad idol song.
That doesn't help anything.
Wake up, girls.
Don't wake up, girls. So speaking of bad idol anime, the show I dropped has nothing to do with that.
Oh my god.
I dropped The Reflection, which I don't think anyone else here has watched.
No.
That's another Chinese show.
I don't think it is.
No,
I think it's
it
Studio
is.
Dean. Yeah.
No.
No.
Stop right here. Look up, because I was looking at fucking the stupid studio. No. The studio that made the fucking, what was the other Chinese show?
Centaur?
Yes. They are if you go to their studio page, they are credited with The Reflection somewhere on it.
They may be helping out, but it's primarily Studio Dean.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a collaboration with Stan Lee. And I watched. So everyone knows my love of Hero Man, which was another anime that was a collaboration with Stan Lee. So I was like, oh cool, they're doing another Stan Lee anime. I should probably watch this. And I only watched one episode, and what I got was the most boring piece of superhero fiction I've seen since Man of Steel.
Oh my god.
It was fucking boring. I couldn't even tell you what happened because that's how bored I was. I just totally zoned out. The only somehow DL is still watching this show. I'll have to ask him why later. But
Well, I think he said that he knew it was shit, but he just wants to watch it just cause.
maybe, and I've heard it does get a bit better than the first episode, but like they already lost me with that.
Mm-hmm.
The only really thing of note about this anime is it has a very unique art style. It's trying to go for like a comic books like look, but it doesn't have like any shading or detail to it. It's a lot of just like flat colors and just it's really not interesting to look at all. I described it in the CT as looking like someone's animation school project. That's the level of animation that's in this show. And other than like one CG intensive scene, it was barely animated beyond that. Like it felt like Flash most of the time. So I don't know what the fuck they were thinking when, like, I can appreciate that you're trying to do something different, but that doesn't make it good. In fact, it just turned me off more from wanting to watch any any more of this, even beyond the fact that like it was just so dull. So I'm gonna ask DL later what he sees in it. I think there is something holding his interest because he would have dropped it otherwise. But I just didn't see anything in that first episode that told me that this was worth giving another shot. So I dropped it.
Nice.
All right. I did drop another show this season. I mean, I guess I don't know if it's worth mentioning that I did drop Sakura Quest just because I was bored by it, but that technically isn't really this season. But
How do we
you can
tell
mention it,
someone
still
to kill
airing.
themselves?
huh?
What?
What?
I was gonna say, how do we tell someone to kill themselves?
I think it's
I
a
wasn't
really I
actually
think it's
gonna
a pretty
get
good
into
show.
Sakura Quest, but
I think it's a pretty good show, but like if you've fallen behind on it as far as Matt did, I can understand not being enthusiastic.
I fell
about
really
getting caught
far
up.
behind,
It's certainly
it's
not
just
a
like,
great show.
You're not really missing anything by not finishing.
It's
it,
just
so.
not. It's just not worth my time at the moment. Like I might like pick it up later and just finish it, but it wasn't really holding my interest at all.
I
watch
mean,
it
you,
on a week by week
against all
basis.
odds, you finished Kuro Makuro, so
That is true. I did put that on hold for like almost pretty much half a year. Picked it back up and finished it and gave it a 6 because it was not.
But what's gonna happen to Kenny?
He went off to another universe to
he
fight
went
aliens.
back to his home planet.
He literally that is literally what happened. He went back to his home planet to fight aliens.
Wow.
And the girl went with him too. But the actual anime that started airing this season the other one that I did drop was Dive, which is the other.
I really thought that would be right up your alley.
No. It's the shitty sports show that is very clearly trying to be like Free, but it lacks anything that made Free watchable. That is the direction, the comedy, and the characters, which were all actually pretty solid and Free, and here are just completely non-existent because Dive is just boring. It's just a really shitty, boring sports show with shitty characters and generic sports shit.
It's a real shame it didn't get off to a strong start so that you could make the joke that it took a dive later on.
Oh my god! I mean, it took a dive. I mean, it took a dive from the very first episode. Like it's just not good. It's just not a good show. It's just boring and shitty. Made by our favorite studio, Zero G, the people behind Battery. So there you go.
What a group of guys. What a studio.
Wait, didn't you like Battery Funk?
No.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
No, what was that soccer anime you liked?
Soccer. That was Days.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that was Days. Battery.
Great.
That Battery was the baseball one, I think.
Right, which was much worse. But to go back to this season, another show that I dropped, Shoukoku no Altair, whatever. So I went into this show expecting it to be like the next Arslan, and Arslan Senki was a show that I really enjoyed. It scratched that kind of fantasy itch. It was all I really needed, despite it being a relatively simple affair. This was much more simple in its presentation, despite having that same kind of the same trappings on it. So I really was just given a children's show under the guise of something that had more going on, and I was like, oh, this is for fucking kids, is it? And that's when I dropped it at around 90% through the first episode, when like some stupid mustache twirling villain was given his comeuppance within 10 minutes of being introduced, and I was like, yep, all right, yep, okay. And then
one of these days you're gonna watch one of these kids shows completely out of spite, just to see if it's not for kids.
Rather than being fooled, like I knew what I was getting into, but I was too smart. Oh god. So, let me just tell you how stupid this was. This kid had a fucking falcon companion. And because his companion was the fucking falcon, he always had to wear the stupid falconer's glove on his hand. And it just looks so out of place. It's ridiculous. Who else dropped something? Because I got a lot more to go through.
I actually think we've been through all the shows I've dropped.
There's let me double check real quick, but I'm pretty sure those are the only 2 shows this season I dropped.
Fuck!
Yep, those are the only 2.
And Kenny never drops anything, so.
No. So I next show that I dropped. Kenny.
Oh, wait. Let's see. Kenny, did you drop something?
I dropped a couple.
What did you drop? What did you drop?
For one, Battle Girl High School.
Wait, what show?
Exactly. I don't even fucking remember.
What's the full name of that show? Because it's really fucking dumb.
What?
What's the full name of that show, Kenny?
That's all I remember. I don't know what there was more to it.
This just says Battle Girl High School. This just says Battle Girl High School.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it had a longer, dumber name, but it's still dumb.
It might have, but I don't remember anything from it. So I think that's it.
Well, what do you want to say about it?
What can I say about it? I don't remember anything about it.
So,
it was good
all right.
I remember seeing that title. I think it was one of the first shows that came out this season. And I thought, this sounds exactly like the kind of thing Kenny would watch, but you didn't even end up watching the whole thing like you normally do, so it must be really fucking bad.
You'll be pleased to know I am still watching Gamers. And I am still watching said Centaur anime that you talked about here.
Somebody save him from himself.
So good. Okay, I'm done.
Go ahead, Funk.
So, the next show that I dropped was Vatican Kiseki Chousakan, which, when I'm about to describe it, which really draws into question, why I watched it at all. It's basically the next in a long line of shows that are just bones from fucks. Fucking investigation dramas that are trash. Only this one has the slants. Oh my god, hold on. This one has the slant that it's a fucking miracle investigator sent by the Vatican to figure out if things are really holy phenomenon or just hoaxes. But it's just so boring and it's just so dumb. Like, I watched approximately 1.45 episodes of the show. And at one point, they're just talking about condensation, about how the tears that appeared on the Mary statue had to have been condensation, because no way that really happened. But if it was condensation, why didn't it happen before? And I was just like, I don't care. I don't care about condensation. It's just done. It's so stupid. There was nothing, like, I don't know if it's a drama or a thriller or what. But it was just
supposed to be.
It was just an episode and a half of stagnant emotion that neither made me feel nor made me question. It was just the same. It was just boring. So, and like, of course, like each member of the Vatican Miracle Investigation Squad, which is the two main characters, has their own hang-up and personality that they take great care to introduce in the first episode. But by the second episode, they abandon all that, and it's just they're both the same character. It's like they're just set up in this Mexican church doing fucking rigorous tests on the blood that somebody bled when they were killed. It's like, I don't care. I don't care about any of this.
So how many episodes of this did you watch, Funk?
I watched two. I told you, I watched 1.45.
Okay. So I've watched 0 episodes of this anime. But I know it goes to some pretty fucking stupid places after you dropped it.
Oh, yeah?
So let me just read 2 screen caps I've seen from this anime for you.
Please do.
I think this one's from episode 3, where it says, "Who would have thought a Catholic priest would make a student his plaything?"
Oh my god.
And then from episode 4, which is apparently batshit insane, there's one screen cap that says, "They inseminated Sister Anna Dolores with Hitler's own sperm."
I mean, maybe the show's Kino, and I just didn't know it. Who knows? But I don't regret dropping it. I'll say that much. Because, man, like, for the highs that these screen caps produce, there's just tangible lows of minute-long boredom. And, like, it's... like, this show would benefit from having licensed the Law and Order bumper music. just to give you some kind of idea that the plot is progressing whenever they switch scenes. But no. Fuck. Okay, so the next show that I dropped, Konbini Kareshi, Convenience Store Boyfriend. I don't remember if I watched the whole episode of this or only a little bit. But what I do remember is that it was fucking boring. Like, there was one... So it sets up all the characters at school, at, like, their respective or mutual high schools. And then they meet at a convenience store afterwards. And it's like this 5-minute long scene of a girl walking into a display, knocking it over, the staff at the convenience store being like, "Oh, it's okay, we'll put it back together." The girl being like, "I'm so sorry I knocked it over." And then, like, her leaving. And then the guy's talking to the fucking staff, like, "Who's that girl?" And they're like, "I don't know, she just knocked over this display." And I'm like, I just want something to believe in here. I just need something to latch onto. It was so humdrum. And it's like, when you walk into a convenience store, the last thing you're doing is paying attention to all the other patrons. You're just like, get the fuck out of my way in this aisle. Let me pay for my fucking potato chips and karaage and be on my fucking way. I don't need you to cause a fucking scene so I can fantasize about meeting you at school later. It's fucking ridiculous.
The problem is, Funk, like, the thing you're not seeing is that as soon as these characters walk out, another group of characters walk in and start fighting over bentos in the back.
That would have made for a much better show.
That is a show!
I know! But the thing is, if you, like, cross the two, combine bento with, like, a fucking forced romance drama, so that, like, while the bento fight's going on, somebody awkwardly confessing his love gets drop-kicked to the fucking face. And that's an award-winning show right there. Jesus. But like,
maybe someday they'll do a collaboration.
Maybe, but it was just so boring that I just couldn't sit through it. I tried. I really tried. So there's another show, and I'm going to be completely honest. So this show, Cleo no Akari, I have marked as dropped at 1 episode. But, strict but here, I don't remember watching it at all. At all. I remember nothing from this. I just know that I dropped it at some point. So it's 9 minutes per episode, so I know that at some point in my life, 9 minutes, I was blacked out while the show played in front of me. But I don't know anything besides that, which clearly must speak to its quality. So if anybody listening has seen this, I assure you that I actually did watch it, but I think there was something about, like, a note. Maybe it's like some guy, his friend died and he had a note from her or something. Or like a lost love, something like that. There was some kind of note, I'm sure. Maybe. Moving on, we have the Love Live of the season. So, Action Heroine Cheer Fruits. I watched 2 episodes of this.
Who'd have thought a show with that kind of title would fail?
Yeah, who'd have thought? So this is essentially Love Live. If you look at the poster, it's extremely Love Live. So the premise is that in this version of Japan, every hometown, small town has its version of fucking heroines that save the town based off this uber popular national heroine. Everybody want to emulate that to boost their town's success. So this one small town doesn't have any heroines, so it puts together this heroine cheers fruit squad.
Stop saying heroin.
to boost its popularity. But the thing is that, like, this you could replace all these things with School Idol Group, and it plays out exactly the same as Love Live. Like all the characters have the same one-dimensional personalities. They have the same stupid costumes. And like I was somewhat on board with it by the first episode, which was like mildly entertaining. I was like, okay, these girls are really trying to put on their local heroine show. I'm gonna stay with them for their journey and go through the rest of it. And then in the second episode, it's like 10 minutes of like the student council president talking to another one of the student council higher ups, like, oh, you gotta watch out. We can't have these fucking heroines again. You know what happened last time. And it's like, oh, I know what happened last time, but I'm really still struggling to put it together again. And it's just this stupid conflict that we've seen a billion times before. And I'm just done. Fucking done.
Is Kenny watching this show?
I don't know, maybe. Okay.
Oh.
But I remember I messaged Frank, like, Frank, watch this. It's literally Love Live. The next day, he messaged me back, and he's like, yeah, this show sucks. And I'm like, yeah, it's Love Live.
Oh my god.
True story. But shockingly, that's all I have dropped for this season. So
what a great season this has been.
What a useless power.
I think that's all the shows then, unless Kenny has any more.
No.
All right. So that's going to wrap up that segment. We're going to take another break, and we'll be right back with anime openings.
Yeah, and the endings.
And the endings. We'll be right back. Welcome back once again to the Luckycast. So we're going to be doing anime openings here, but Funk doesn't have any notes this time for the first time ever.
Oh my
actually.
god.
So,
well, I mean, hold on, let's not just throw me out into the fucking cold here. I have a perfectly good reason for this. It's been a combination of several things. I moved to a new fucking country on the other side of the goddamn planet. B, I've been working full time. C, I've been sick for like the past 5 days. And I guess that's it. I know I let up for a D, but that's really just A, B, and C.
So what's your excuse?
Yeah? Kenny?
I was actually going to say, like, I don't know what format this is going to take now, but if anyone has anything they want to throw out there, I'm not going to stop you.
All right. I don't know, Funk, do you want to...
Well, there were exactly a couple of shows that stuck out to me as having relevant OPs and EDs. The first one was, what was the name of it? Kakegurui. Had like a super, and I'm flying by night here. I ain't got no notes. But it had like a super dank kind of like jazz OP. It had like that awesome swing jazz beat that we all know and love. So as soon as it started playing, which was like my first introduction to the show, I was like super into it. Like, it was, oh my god, it was great. And then like it evolves throughout the course of the song, the drum work. But I think the drums are really anchored as being like super dank for me. While it, of course, has like all the trappings of a more classic jazz piece. It's really the drums that kept me invested throughout as being just amazing. That was number one that stuck out to me. Not that there weren't other great shows, or great OPs rather, but that was the one that like really, really nailed it. I don't know what you took note of throughout the season, Matt.
Well, I didn't watch that show, so I can't say
Yeah,
anything.
but I mean other shows.
Other shows. I feel like there is one show's OP in particular we're all going to talk about. So I'm just gonna leave that to everybody else because I think we are. I think we all know that Princess Principal's OP is fucking amazing.
I love.
But
Yeah, that's my favorite of the season.
But so I'll just stick to something else. I'm gonna say one that stuck out to me was Welcome to the Ballrooms, which it's not like amazing, but it's just a really super catchy rock song with the best little like I guess I don't know staccato like steppy intro where it's like dun 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 dun. It's like I don't know. I just love the way it kind of skips through the intro there and flows into the actual song. It's great, and it's just a super hype opening for a show that's about fucking ballroom dancing, and it's like the most it's the most unexpected thing you would see for a show about ballroom dancing. So it's
Are you
just
saying
great.
that ballroom dancing doesn't make you fucking hype?
I mean, it does now. After watching the show, I would never expect it to be this like just high energy and super fun to watch, but it is. It's great, especially when people's necks are extending to absurd lengths. But yeah, the OP for Welcome to the Ballroom is super good. As like other shows, Koi to Uso's OP also is really good, despite the quality of the show itself being a bit of a hot mess. The OP is actually really good. It's got a well, fuck. Now I have Welcome to the Ballroom's OP stuck in my head, and I can't remember what that song is. Like, help. Oh, like it has this really like weird kind of whiny opening that then like transitions into the song itself, and it's just got a really like it's got a nice beat, and then when you get to like the chorus, it's this like really weird kind of like almost like chant like thing where it almost sounds like a bunch of people stomping their feet to the beat in like at a stadium or something. Or it's like a lot of these like loud claps and like it's just like these snares. It's just like dun 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 dun. I don't know. I forget how it goes, but like it's just really good. And then after that little section, well, I guess it gets into the real. I don't know. I guess that's a pre-chorus because the actual chorus kind of just goes into the actual song, and it's just really, I don't know. This is really super catchy, good song that gets you in the mood for the show, even if the show is kind of not great and kind of stupid. But yeah, that one stuck out.
What I really like about that one, so it's hard almost to talk about the strengths of rhythm guitar in particular, but I really like the rhythm guitar in the song. At no point does the guitar really take like center stage, doesn't really play a melody or anything. It's always just hammering out the chords on like an almost syncopated beat. But like in the first phase of the song, like when it's just carried by the bass line, you can hear the rhythm guitar lower in the mix and it's really doing the work. And then during that kind of like you said, stadium rock-esque, almost wheel rocky kind of stomps and claps, it's still doing the work there. And as it transitions into the chorus, it's still going hard. And it's different throughout all three of these distinct phases of the song while still playing the same basic progression. But the rhythm guitar is just doing so much work, and it really is just the glue that holds the entire song, even if it is rather disparate as it moves through all these different sections. The rhythm guitar is like the one constant, and it just works so well. I think, anyway.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Other than that, not really anything else. Maiden of the Abyss's OP, I guess it's pretty good. It's not really anything special, but it's got some nice strings and instrumentation going on.
Deep in Abyss?
I guess. I don't know.
That's the name of it.
Huh?
That's the name of the OP.
Oh, that is the OP song name. I forgot about that. I don't really have anything much to say about that song other than it's solid, I guess. It's got good piano. It's got good strings.
Yeah, it's like the definition of fine, right?
Yeah, it's like it's like it's an anime song. You hear it and you're like, yep, that's definitely a song that opens up to an anime.
Almost for better or worse.
Almost for, yeah, right. Like, it is a little disappointing, I guess, that it's to the show, because the show is great. But, you know, I always hate whenever, like, really shitty shows get great OPs and really great shows get fine OPs. Because the only thing that can make a show better is if it has, like, just a great OP to open it up with. Like, something like Mob Psycho or I don't know, Flip Flappers or Yuri on Ice. It just helps it just really ups the experience, and when it's just fine, it's like, well, this is a song that exists that's attached to this great show. I don't know.
Do you guys have an opinion on the newest Boku no Hero Academia opening?
Oh, it's I like it. I think it's good. I like the bored sounding female vocalist in it. The way she sings, she's just like Oh, yeah, it's good. I like it.
I tried to look it up real quick, and all I could find is a Spanish rendition of the first half of the second season's OP. So not the one that I want.
It's definitely not as good as the first core OP.
But I mean, that OP was pretty great.
I just love I just love the fact that like most of that OP is just them stretching. There's something about that that's just great. Oh man.
Oh my god. It was blocked in my country.
What?
It was blocked in my country.
Oh no.
Then hell.
I like the guitar wankery in the NTR show.
That's such a weird opening for that show.
It is. It's like this crazy metal song. It's like a fucking.
It sounds like it sounds like an opening to a shonen anime.
Yeah. It reminds me of there's some female artist that is like her songs are just like are kind of just like generic pop rock songs.
Is it Orianthi?
Yes, but then
I fucking knew it.
But then like it's like a generic pop rock song, but then they always explode into this random like crazy guitar solo. And it's like, whoa, where did this come from?
Fucking According to You. That song is great.
I'm
listening to this fucking NTR OP right now. And it's really something that I wouldn't usually subscribe to an NTR show.
You happen to be an expert on this topic.
I am. It's one thing I trained my whole life to be. We need DL here to offer his NTR opinions.
We're gonna get him on the end of the season podcast.
Well, the thing is, this NTR show is both NTR and Yuri. So it's like the Frank DL Power Hour.
That show is fucking trash, but it's entertaining.
Fuck.
There's not a lot of notable openings from the season.
No, are we just waiting for Funk to find this OP?
Well, no, I found it. I listened to it. But it's like, rest assured, if I had had the time to prepare the notes, despite there being a dearth of notable OPs, I would have went on for fucking 2 hours or so.
Right.
And I really regret not having the time to do so.
Yeah.
Fucking sucks.
Aho Girl's OP is okay. It's goofy and it has a nice chorus. That's just super catchy.
What show?
Aho Girl.
Oh yeah.
The show that, despite starring a character who eats nothing but bananas, has managed to avoid having a slipping on a banana peel joke for 6 episodes straight. Something that gamers couldn't do. So there you go.
Take that, gamers and gamers fan.
Gamers are over.
Fucking
Oh my
idiots.
God.
Wow, what if this show became so infamous that it spawned a controversy called the Gamers Gate?
I mean, I'm sure if Funimation license it, they'll put a shitty reference to it somewhere in their dub.
Oh my god. I don't want another one of those Gamergate weirdos to show up in my anime.
Do you have any other openings you want to talk about?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Unfortunately, no. I feel so underprepared. I swear. I promise you, the viewer, that next time we'll have a more complete...
Well, I mean, I guess we could talk about the Princess Principal OP. We haven't actually talked about that.
I listened to it. I listened to it again when you tangentially brought it up as being good. And I was just like, it's fine. Like, it's fine. But I don't think it's, like, anything great.
It's great.
It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like...
Well, here's your time, Matt. Funk has no notes, so he can't debate you. So just tell him why he's wrong.
I'm
Okay.
defenseless.
Okay. I mean, I'll just go into why it's great. So, I mean, first off, you just have, like, this, like, the song just, like, starts off with, like, this fucking cacophony of sounds and instruments, and just, it's almost like a sped up version of, like, of just a band tuning their instruments or something, and it's just all... gets just crazier and louder, and then it finally just explodes into the chorus. Well, not really chorus, but like it explodes into the intro. And it's great. And you have, and then you get to like the verse, and you have this like crazy bass line in the background. It's like going all over the place. With the singer, you got the trumpets kick in. That like they're just add more layers to everything. You got the piano doing its own thing. Then later, when the singer starts talking about how she's a girl who can't be deceived because she's I don't know. I forget the words to the fucking song. I don't know. It's great. And then you got the chorus, and they're all just driving down this pillar. Shows them all off. The Dorothy does her crazy face, and yeah, the song is great. Song is great. Angie turns into a frog for whatever reason. I don't know what that's about. Maybe that's gonna get brought up later in the show. But I don't know. It's just a super hype opening, and just really gets you in the mood for the show. It like that was like that opening. Like when I saw Steve talk about how the show is actually good, I was like, okay, maybe I will actually pick up the show despite its stupid sounding name and its really not so great sounding synopsis. And then I listened to the OP that Steve posts in the Clyde, and I'm like, okay, now I have to watch this, because the OP to the show just kind of spells out, like, hey, this show is going to be crazy, and it's going to be fun. it might turn into it might turn into just a massive piece of shit, but it's still gonna be fun regardless.
You're gonna have a good time. You're
gonna have a good time with this show. You got these cute girls riding a old-timey car. One of them is wearing a top hat and has a gun. Like you can't go wrong.
The thing is, while like the OP like reaches that threshold level of excitement, it doesn't really do anything beyond that, to the point where, and I hesitate to say this, to the point where it almost becomes dun artificial excitement.
You can't just put artificial in front of things.
No, I do that.
I understand that. I know how I sound right now. But the thing is,
you're not having real fun.
When I listen to it, it's like, if I want to write an exciting pulse pounding song, like these are the beats that I would include in there. But like the small piano breaks the exaltation of the chorus and the singer, but the soaring horn lines, but none of it feels particularly inspired. It's just like something that I probably should put in my song, rather than anything that organically deserves to be there. I don't know. It just feels a little hollow to me.
All right.
When I listen to it, and not to say it's a bad song, because it's not. It's just that it could just be a little better.
All right. I don't know.
Agree to disagree.
It might be.
I mean, I'm not going to begrudge somebody for liking it.
It's probably, I don't know. It's probably one of my favorite OPs of the year. I forget what other. There are other OPs.
Funk, I begrudge you for still liking Anne Happy's OP.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it.
You didn't watch any of that during the Twitch stream, did you, Steve?
No, I mean, even if I had been there at the time it was airing, I'm not sure I would have bothered to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just interested in seeing how other people reacted to that OP. Like,
Did you see it all?
No, I have no idea. The only thing I saw was people reacting to Free, Mob Psycho, and Real Life. And I know everybody liked. Everybody seemed to like Free's OP and ED, especially ED, which has all their favorite boys dancing and cross-dressing in like Middle Eastern garb.
Weird.
It's a very gay ED. Let's just say that.
It's so gay.
It's very
the only
gay.
thing I drink.
But anyways, I can't think of anything else.
Well, can you think of any good EDs from this season?
Let me think.
I remember Princess Principles being dank.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. It's got a nice, cute ED.
The fuck, I'm burping all over the place here. The animation of it, like, I really liked, and the music of it was, of course, dank too. I'm trying to find a fucking link right now, but of course it's all fucking covers and remixes and bullshit.
Nightcore.
Just kill me. A MIDI cover. A fucking MIDI cover. Who wants this? It's ridiculous. Rest assured, the ass was fat.
Jesus Christ. Other EDs, I guess. Wow, fun looking. Welcome to the Ballroom has a really good ED too. It's kind of it like starts off as like almost like a swing beat kind of thing, like almost kind of jazzy sounding, and then it transitions into like a waltz, and it's great. So good.
Yeah, like having a waltz in their music was is exactly what you wanted, but the fact that they actually did it was just on point.
Yeah, it's very on point. It's like the perfect kind of like Welcome to the Ballroom pretty much has the perfect OP and ED combination because you got the hype OP that gets you in the mood for some hardcore dancing, and then you got the nice cool down ED where it's just the very mellow, relaxing, kind of swingy waltz song. It's super great and catchy. What else is there?
New Game has a cute ED, but
Only
not particularly great.
I have only watched one episode of that show, and I don't even know if that had the OP or the ED in it.
Go fuck yourself.
Well, Kenny, what do you like about it? You're so passionate.
He just doesn't like people insulting New Game.
I didn't
No,
insult.
The fact that he's
Not watching it is an insult to Kenny.
Oh right. Okay. None of the EDs are very good either.
Maybe they're all hidden in the bad shows.
Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe. Yeah, I'm sure. The thing is, I'm sure that there's enough like relevant stuff to talk about. But I just didn't have fucking time. I didn't have fucking time, and I'm sorry.
Made in Abyss has a pretty cute ED.
Omega's gonna be crushed.
Oh no.
Omega's gonna be crushed that he doesn't have like 2 hours of his fucking time to waste listening to the OPED discussion.
What else is there? I like the anime. I mean, I don't really remember what the actual song is, but I like the ED for My Hero Academia season 2.
Yeah, I don't like it as much as the first one.
No,
The first core, but
I don't either. But it's good. I just like the idea of having all the characters be like RPG characters.
that's very cute.
It's very cute. Just like the
Well,
first.
Steve, if you like that, you should watch fucking S-Class RPG anime.
Is this a thing?
Yes.
Oh, the Classroom of the Elite, that show?
I assume that's what it's called. I have no idea.
What? No, that show's not like that.
No, there's an actual S-Class show that's a spin-off where it takes place in an RPG world.
Oh my god.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not gonna watch that.
Why? Because it's garbage?
Why would I watch a spin-off of Ass Class?
Hey, that's a great question.
Do you think I was that invested in Ass Class that would I watch a fucking RPG spin-off?
Yes.
No. No, it was good, but not that good.
Was it good though?
It was good. You had a good time. We got a legendary meme out of it. We drew a legendary meme. The fucking giant pudding.
God damn it, the cake. The pudding, yeah. We baked a giant pudding. So is the giant pudding the best OP and the best ED of the season?
Yeah.
By default, it would probably have to be.
To my untrained ear, it is, having no notes.
Oh, I did forget 2 OPs I want to comment on very shortly. I really like the second opening to Recreators. It's basically, it sounds pretty similar to the first opening, but I like it a bit more. And Sakura Quest's second opening is the most unfitting opening of any anime I have ever seen. I posted about this in the CT, and no one commented on it.
It's the best part of the show.
I haven't had a chance to watch a second season episode of Sakura Quest yet, so I have no idea. Is it really that poorly fitting?
It's like a really high energy song that does not fit with the more laid back show that it is.
I mean, the first OP was already ganky enough.
Yeah, but this goes to a level beyond.
Yeah, that opening actually kind of fit because it had a bit of a it had a bit of a laid back kind of countryish feel, I guess.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I did listen to that OP, and it did not feel like it fit in that show.
I'm listening to it right now, and it's really not right.
Like, it just instantly hits you. It's like, this is not right.
I mean, especially when, like, forget about the show proper. When you compare it just to the imagery in the OP, it just doesn't work. It's like a fucking AMV more than anything else.
That's a good point.
What's Gamers ED? I forget. I know the OP is stupid.
I don't remember either.
The only thing that's good about the Gamers OP is a little like.
Oh, the video game references. Yeah,
is the video game like references
one thing
and the little 8-bit part of the song.
Funk, the fucking Gamers OP has a PUBG reference in it.
Are you kidding? What is even a PUBG reference in this day and age?
Like, they actually show like a parody of PUBG.
Fuck.
Like, they even have the HUD and everything from the game.
Does somebody win a chicken dinner?
No, it's just them playing. There's also like a really, really on the nose Smash Brothers reference.
Delete this.
None of which you'll ever see in the show. Because it's just a shitty rom-com.
God, this I'm sorry to regress here, but this Sakura Quest OP is just terrible. Like, I can't. I'm watching this and I can't believe it that this is the OP of the show. Like, I'm gonna get kicked in the fucking stomach again once I turn on the first episode from the second core and just be like, wow, this is really it. This is insanity.
You'll learn to love it.
Yeah.
It's like, bye.
But I learned to love it as well if, like, every 30 seconds somebody was like, in the end. That's what I'm expecting here. Fuck. Well, we've now seen the power, the relative power disparity in OPED segment, or Funk does not have notes. So maybe count
an
this
hour
up.
and a half less.
Right.
It's difficult to discuss music when you don't know anything about music.
Ouch.
So,
I'm not offended
that's an
by
ouch
that.
to us, not to you. But
Oh, okay.
You
thought
don't
you
know
were, like-
anything about music, Funk.
God damn. Well, rest assured. So next season, I'm gonna bring the thunder, but for the end of the year segment, I'm gonna recap everything I missed this season.
Oh no.
So we're gonna hear it. We're
That
gonna
podcast is already long enough to begin with.
Well, no. I just mean that I'm gonna, in talking about the best OPs and EDs of the year, I'm gonna go back over and see if there's anything from this season that qualifies.
oh, okay.
Okay.
Not that I'm gonna have a specific section at the end of this talking about just the season.
I mean, everybody knows that like it's just gonna be that the whole list is just gonna be Kobayashi.
That's a strong possibility. But yeah, so Omega, you might think yourself saved today, but tomorrow you're gonna be back under it.
Just wait in a couple months.
You're fucking dead, kiddo.
Your life ends 30 years from now. So is that it? Are we actually done?
Already done.
I mean, that's all I got. Unless we want to talk about just, talk about fucking Hajimete no Gal for another 20 minutes.
We can if you want.
I don't want.
Listen,
But that's an option.
listen.
we have.
Yame-san did nothing wrong.
Who was that?
She's the main girl.
Oh my god.
No, but real talk though, she is like an amazing character. Like she is like the ideal girlfriend, and not like the fantasy ideal girlfriend who just like does whatever you want. She's just like the fun, flirty kind of girlfriend that anyone would enjoy being with.
The thing is,
And-
Gil would never admit that because she's not a slut.
That's true. That is true. I don't know if she's pure, but she's not a slut. But you just reminded me of another thing I really like about that show that I may have just fucking forgot. Oh, never
Okay.
mind. Okay, I remembered it again. So, God, well, okay. So her
It's
character,
very sensitive information.
so her character, right? She is like the antithesis of every bad romantic comedy character who just flips out and hits someone or fucking freaks anytime there's a little misunderstanding. She is like the coolest person. She walks in on her best friend, like literally just on top of her boyfriend, and she instantly understands that this is just her playing around, not him cheating on her. Whereas any other shitty romantic comedy would have made that into an episode-long drama that, you know, maybe it gets resolved by the end. But I just really appreciate about the show that it's not having her do the traditional stuff. It's actually having her be just a fucking cool-ass girlfriend. And I think this show actually deserves a lot of credit for that.
Godspeed. You Hajimete no Ka.
I mean,
Yeah, so say goodbye, everyone.
alright.
Wait, Matt, sounds like you have something you want to say.
I guess I was just gonna give a very soft recommendation, maybe to Aho Girl for being not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be.
But Colin hates it.
Does he?
He
Well,
said
it
he
hates
watched,
everything.
He said he watched an episode.
I thought it was fine. Like it definitely has a lot of yelling in it.
I've watched 6 episodes. It still fucking sucks.
I think it's fine. It's not like amazingly funny, but it
Does
got a
the
couple
banana
chuckles.
imagery trigger you, Kenny?
It's 12 minutes of pure just hell.
Wait, is
And
it 12 minutes long?
What makes it even worse is that while the credits rolling, the episode is still going on. So I'm forced to sit there.
That is
Just fucking-
true.
Just
That
like,
is true. You think you get to the ED, but then it just keeps on. The scene just keeps going.
just like no, oh, God.
Do you have any final thoughts, Kenny?
That's it.
That's it? That's it. That's it. Is that it?
That's it.
I think that's it.
Okay, that's it. Bye.
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 Were you looking for me to say something else?
I was actually hoping you would say something profound, Kenny.
I was thinking about bringing up the thing about Recreators airing every other week, but
God,
Yeah, I
I can
don't
only
know-
hope that Steve's still recording.
I actually am.
fuck.
Yes.